Welcome back to another episode of 40 Facts About the 40k Universe. I am your host, Gershwin, and you are watching One Mind Syndicate. Today, we continue talking about Chaos Gods as we dive into Khorne. This is going to be a Khorne cult video. If you guys have any other suggestions for other Warhammer 40k topics, please comment down below. And if you guys are new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. We post Warhammer 40k content every single day. But with that said, let's get into 40 facts about Khorne cults. Khorne is the blood god, an angry and murderous god of chaos, whose bellows of limitless rage echo through the corridors of time and space. His great brass throne sits in the realm of chaos upon a mountain of skulls in the midst of a plain of splintered bone and lakes of mortal blood, formed from the remains of his followers slain in battle and those who his minions have killed in his name. Khorne embodies mindless and absolute violence, destroying everyone and everything within reach, shedding the blood of friend and foe alike, simply for the sake of joy of murder. Followers of Khorne are always ferocious warriors and never make use of psychic powers, for the blood god hates the trickery of magic and cowardly sorcerers, particularly the servants of Tzeentch. Men turn to Khorne for the power to conquer, to defeat their enemies in battle, to wreak bloody vengeance, and to attain unmatched martial prowess against all comers. The most fanatical and dedicated of his followers, those whose souls are trapped fully within his bloody embrace, know that he truly desires only constant and wild slaughter for its own sake. Khorne cares not from where the blood flows, only that it flows without cease for eternity. Khorne has an immense following among mortals, especially humans, as his radiance of raw power and strong emotions beckons all who lust for battle and power over their fellows to his side. Worship of Khorne is especially embraced by the more primitive and primal human tribes that inhabit many of the feral and feudal worlds across the Imperium of Man. The followers of Khorne are almost all uncontrollable fighters who excel at the art of killing. Khorne cultists share their god's straightforward philosophy on warfare and battle tactics, preferring to charge directly at their foes in order to defeat them in close melee combat, where they can make the blood really flow. As such, Khorne's followers are generally berserkers that pay little heed to tactics or defense in their frenzy for blood. Khorne frowns upon the use of sorcery and trickery, and those pursuing the magical arts look elsewhere to find a patron for their studies. Unlike the other chaos gods, Khorne's followers do not go to great lengths to build temples in his honor. Instead, they worship their god on the battlefield, praising him with battle cries, such as blood for the blood god or skulls for the skull throne. His followers also offer him praise and attempt to win his favor by savagely attacking each other when there are no other battles to be found, and sometimes even when they are. It is said that Khorne is the easiest chaos god to worship, because while worship of most other gods requires rituals, altars, and sacrifices, Khorne's demands are simply that his followers spill fresh blood and collect skulls in his name. Those favored by Khorne often receive his chaotic blessings, mutations. Sometimes these physical alterations take the form of great strength or a beast-like visage, sometimes of frightening physical alterations such as the development of horns, claws, or rendering talons. Regardless of the mutations that develop, they are displayed proudly by his coronet recipients, and serve both as a visible reminder of the blood god's existence and an inspiration for those who have not yet won his favor. The World Eater Trader Legion is dedicated solely to Khorne and his cause, the shedding of blood and the defeat of all his enemies. The worship of Khorne appeals primarily to warrior soldiers, other individuals in military occupations, and anyone who feels weak and powerless and wishes they had the physical power to exert their will and take what they want. For these individuals, his followers, Khorne provides enhanced strength, vitality, and prowess in combat, particularly physical and melee combat. However, the more an individual gives up their soul to Khorne and becomes further corrupted by his brand of chaos, the more they are consumed by increasingly uncontrollable feelings of bloodlust, anger, and wrath that could only be sated for a few moments by taking a life, while his followers revel in the sense of power granted to them by his bloodlust and the mutational gifts that Khorne may provide to enhance their combat prowess. This bloodlust is increasingly uncontrollable and requires them to engage in the most heinous forms of violence to maintain even a semblance of control. Even the momentary relief from the bloodlust that killing provides eventually fades, and long-term Khornites ultimately transform into screaming monsters of adrenaline and aggression, who will do anything to slaughter and kill other living things until their reasons has long since been subverted by the mindless thirst for murder, violence, and savagery. Most Khornites eventually become berserkers of one kind or another, and favor melee weapons, particularly axes over ranged weaponry, since blades provide a far more visceral experience in combat than firearms or directed energy weapons. Like their father, Khornites disdain any use of psychic powers or psychic sorcery as dishonorable and the epitome of physical weakness, preferring to do their killing close up and personal. The problem with Khornite battle tactics is that they essentially have none. They rely on their sheer ferociousness and melee combat prowess to keep them alive long enough to reach their foes and tear them apart, and they usually do. Ultimately, the Khornites' only overriding concern is to spill more blood and take more lives for the blood god. They will quite happily sacrifice their own lives to feed their savage god's eternal appetite for slaughter, as Khorne cares little whose lives he ultimately claims, so long as the blood continues to flow. And those were 40 facts about Khorne cults. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. There's going to be more lore to come for Khorne, so don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Make Khorne happy. Every single like and every single subscriber we get, a new skull gets added to the skull throne. If you don't believe me, try it. Hit that like button. Again, guys, thank you so much for everything that you do. Thank you so much for spending the day with us and coming in here every single day and listening to us read the lore of Warhammer 40k to you. If you guys want to read it for yourself, or if you guys want to learn more about the lore, click on the link down below. That's going to take you to the page that has way more Warhammer 40k lore and way more Khorne lore for you to read. Again, guys, thank you so much for everything, and I'll catch you tomorrow. This was Gersh1 with One Mind Syndicate, signing out.